Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of the show that has yet to be named. We're talking ranking the Marvel Disney Plus shows, and there's five of them, and it's a top five, so it totally makes sense. I'm with JD Triple Sevs. I'm with Putty Papa Pops, and their stuff will be in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, all their videos. You know how to do that kind of stuff. And we're going to get into this, and Putty's going to go first with his number five.
What if I go with my number five? That's what could be possibly happening. Is what if
I want to see how close these lists are going to be.
No, my number five is what if.
JD?
Same. What if?
Okay, well, by a long shot, it's what if for me at number five.
I still loved it, but
no, it was an awful show. It's honestly, I'm not a Captain America, the first Avenger fan, but this is like a new level of I've never felt like hate towards a Marvel thing the way I do for this.
It was pretty bad. It was such high expectations for it, and
there's a few great episodes.
I know what you got. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand why. Because believe me, that threw me off as well. And I'm like, you know what? Just take what you know out the window and maybe try to enjoy this. And no, but still, I will say I did like.
It's still watchable. It's not garbage, but as a personal feeling, I hate it.
Yeah, I agree.
It could have been so much more.
Yeah.
It also shouldn't connect to anything. Anyways, Putty, you're number four.
So actually, this might be shocking. I don't know. This is weird. This list was weird to make when I made it, but I put number four as Hawkeye.
JD?
Number four is Wanda.
Number four for me is Hawkeye.
Okay. Number three for me is Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
My number three is Hawkeye.
My number three is WandaVision.
My number two is WandaVision.
Number two is Loki.
Number two is Loki.
Wow, my number one is Loki.
My number one is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes, by a decent amount, my number one is Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay, so we'll just read through that quick. I'll go first. I have What If at five. At four, I have Hawkeye. At three, I have WandaVision. At two, I have Loki. And at number one, I have Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I guess
go ahead.
My number five is What If. Number four, Hawkeye. Number three, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Number two, WandaVision. And number one, Loki.
Whereas my number five is What If. Number four is WandaVision. Number three is Hawkeye. Number two is Loki. And number one is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
All right, if you just came for the list, that's the list. Go home. But we're going to keep talking about these shows.
So can I say something? I actually had trouble with 1, 2, 3, actually. Those were the ones I actually was struggling with. And I know that's going to sound odd because, but I actually loved all three of those shows a lot together. And up until Hawkeye, I actually was very optimistic about all the Disney Plus shows. Hawkeye's still good. That's not saying anything bad. I agree with John, though. What If is definitely like way down the list when you look at it that way. You know what I mean? When you look in that perspective. I think I just like Loki a little more. I feel like WandaVision only trumped because it's been nominated for so many awards, and it was
also the first. Whenever it's the first of something, it's always going to get that extra love.
And I hate that about myself too, because here was the thing. When I did my reviews for WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision had something special, but Falcon and Winter Soldier hit my heartstrings more. You know what I mean? Especially with like Isaiah Bradley, with all those characters, that it was more down to earth. But then Loki and WandaVision had the more like the magical effects that really brought those up to the forefront for me. So this is the reason why I said the list was so hard, because I hate putting it this way, but Falcon and Winter Soldier only lost on that because of it was more grounded, which still does not just got credited from being a bad show. So I'll say making 1, 2, 3 was the hardest thing in my eyes when I was making this list, and I literally was switching them around. WandaVision never got one. I will say it was always between Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then what I wanted to do between though it wasn't easy. This was actually the hardest list I ever had to do. I'll be honest. I'm just saying. I got to say it. So
whereas for me, Falcon and Winter Soldier is by far number one because it is grounded. It's more rooted in like the human aspect of them. It humanizes these characters. Yes, these are superheroes, but they're also human beings, and it humanized them. It made them real people. You felt for them. The emotion you felt for Falcon, for Sebastian Stan, a Winter Soldier, even for someone like U.S. Agent there. Like, you felt for these people. You felt that turn in U.S. Agent. You felt that sense of like, I'm never going to own up to this guy. I'm never going to be Captain America unless I take crap amounts of super soldier serum, right? Like, you feel for these people. And I think that's where, like with Loki, how many times has he died and they bring him back to life? Like, you know what I mean? So the stakes were different for Falcon. And that's why I had to put Falcon at number one.
I'll tell you this. That was what I loved about Falcon, but then it took me out of the elements of stuff that was like, for example, the reason Cap was so easily able to manipulate the shield and so on and so forth is because he is superhuman. You know what I mean? Using a shield like that to its advantage to what it does is something that they've even explained it would be hard for a human to do. So I was definitely like looking at that, like, okay, like Falcon as a character is perfect. And him as being a Captain America is perfect. But then, like, it started using elements that it still had to be grounded in reality, that I was sitting there going, okay, he wouldn't be able to do that as a real person. Does that make sense? So that's where I kept on. It bothered me because I'm like, stop looking at it that way, because it's such a great show that, and again, it's probably what's swayed.
But Marvel asks you to suspend your belief a lot.
But they also show, look how much Falcon had to train and they showed you that, how much he actually had to physically train in the show to get to the point where he was with the shield.
That show is number one for me because I don't even have to say much about it. Just the development between the characters and the story is so much better written than anything else that we've got. It's actually crazy. Anybody who, like, Putty had it second, so it's not like a big deal. But anybody who thinks, and there's a lot of people on the Instagram community that think it's the worst show, you're absolutely crazy. That's fine if you think that way, but I'm going to tell you my opinion on you is you're crazy, because the writing is so strong alone that I don't care about anything else. What you made me feel for the villain. You expanded so much. The chemistry between Winter Soldier and Falcon is amazing. Sebastian Stan is a standout actor, like left and right. Holy crap! And you have
he is the perfect Winter Soldier. Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's actually what I want to see right there. Again, I love Falcon and Winter Soldier themselves. Those characters are amazing. But what really stood out to me was more of the actual other characters. U.S. Agent, oh my God, that was an amazing storyline with that whole situation.
Well, I said Russell should have won an Oscar for that, or not an Oscar, sorry, an Emmy for that, or a Golden Globe or something.
Isaiah Bradley as the original Captain America, that should have gotten the attention that he deserves, and the way they did it, and like that pulled at me. Like, oh, I was so upset for him, and it so frustrated me. And I was proud of what Falcon did. I will say that.
What about the redemption of Winter Soldier at the end? Like,
I agree. But that's what I'm saying. The other characters, like all the other characters on the side, everything was so good about it.
Every character mattered.
It ham-fists a lot of the racism elements and the political elements. It's very like, we're going to add this in after the fact and just say this. And they're like, you could see it in like the actors' delivery. Sometimes they were like, really, I'm going to do this. There's a lot of great elements there. That show is good. That show's getting backburnered right now. We've talked too much about that.
Yeah.
Loki is a great show. I really enjoyed it, but like we talked about in our review for it, my biggest issue with it is it tries far too hard to be Doctor Who, and it's not like doing it. It's trying to it's trying to do it in like a way of like a loving homage, but it's not. It's like Doctor Who.
See,
waiting for David Tennant to show up in the TARDIS.
Yeah, I'll stop you guys there, because here's the thing: I never really watched Doctor Who, so maybe that's why I liked it so much, is because I didn't have that.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of
you will love Doctor Who.
But John, a lot of the people
I gotta
love
stop
Loki.
you there. But I gotta say this, John. You're always telling me not to compare it to the comics. When I'm comparing stuff to the comics, you're kind of doing the same thing for Loki.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Loki's bad because of that.
No,
I'm saying,
but that's
my feeling. But listen, all of the comic book nerds are like, Doctor Who sucks. Marvel's so good. I'm like, bro, you literally are talking about how much you love this show. It's exactly Doctor Who. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I never said anything bad about Doctor Who.
I know, but I'm saying that's my issue with it. The people that
Right
are
down
saying
to
they love this
Hiddleston as the
show
Doctor.
are saying, ew, I don't like Doctor Who. But meanwhile, you're watching a show that's fully ripping off Doctor
It's
Who.
a love
to
letter.
the
It's a
maximum.
love letter to Doctor
It is,
Who.
but it's so much. It's too far. They went too much.
But
They
see,
should
but
have
that's my
eased it back.
point. I feel like JD's kind of like how focusing on where like with it being a love letter. You're focusing on the downfall of how it looks worse because of Doctor Who. But when you look,
I don't think it looks
He's not
worse.
saying that it looks. He's not
No,
saying
no,
that it
but-
looks
but
worse.
saying-
I think he's just. I think it's more. They didn't focus as much on the actual Loki character
Yes,
than
they spent so much time trying to make it more like Doctor Who that we get less Loki out in the end of it.
which I don't know.
I totally get what you're saying, Campo.
I mean, I guess so. Again, for me, with Loki, the reason it's so great is because it focuses a lot on the TVA aspect of things, and that's what I wanted what I've always wanted to. And when they were talking about it before the show came out, I was so hyped for it. You know what I mean? So it was nice to see that get element brought into the MCU.
Yeah, it's a good show. It like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The TVA,
Well, yeah,
the
like you
TVA
said.
for me is the part I don't like because you're trying to shoehorn in now an entire thing that's existed this whole time that's been monitoring everything, but somehow has
nobody
never
knew
been
about.
mentioned for this whole time.
Again,
it's like,
multiverse, another
Multiverse, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
like we said in the other episode, multiverse.
I know,
But yeah.
but in this situation, it's kind of like, this is why it's not my number one. And I don't need more Loki. Like, I get it, Loki's fun and Tom Hiddleston's great as Loki, but the character doesn't do anything for me in terms of like furthering the universe because he died 37 times already. Who cares about Loki?
I hate to say this, but I think Tom Hiddleston is there for the female audience.
Yeah, but we know
might
that he's
be-
there
you
out
might
of
be right, yeah.
popularity, period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Because
And it pains me to say that because he's fantastic in the role, but they keep bringing him back because it's going to put butts in seats.
and
But again,
Owen Wilson
I didn't
was
watch
great
it for
too.
that. I was loving seeing the
Wow.
other Lokis. The other Lokis is much better.
It's a
You know what I mean?
CD.
Yeah, but again, it's funny that we bring that up and everything because, like I said, I was so separated on how I do this top three in general, and it's so funny how I hate myself now when I look back at it that I put WandaVision in number 2 because the thing is, as I told you, I was so conflicted and I let the world suggest me putting WandaVision at number 2, and that's the sad
Putty
part.
does this
Like,
and
I
then tells
can't.
me, remember when you told me about comic books and now you're saying you don't like this because of Doctor Who? Now that just came back to you, number 2.
No, I
Poo-poo.
agree.
That was a rhyme.
I literally just realized I did that because
Yeah,
the
but
thing is-
this is my thing. WandaVision is
Was the first.
okay. So for me, that's 3, and Hawkeye is 4. The WandaVision has better acting as a whole. It has a storyline that expands a part of the world we haven't seen. It does everything in a very loving and caring way, especially when it's looking back at those shows that it's mimicking. And I think that's great. And it's just a lot better put together than Hawkeye. Hawkeye feels like it was a really good idea. They have a really good cast, but then they just slapped everything together and it just came out how it is. So this is just quickly, and then you guys can yell about whatever you want. So you have the spy thriller, which is Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's fully based on spy
Buddy cop.
thrillers, the James Bonds, the Mission Impossibles. It's totally derivative of that. Okay, Loki is totally derivative of Star Trek and Doctor Who, 100%. And you could see it and you could feel it. WandaVision is completely derivative of each episode of what it's mimicking. Okay, and Hawkeye is just like this weird mashup of the CW DC
Arrow.
shows and then the Netflix Marvel shows. In terms of the Netflix is like the narrative of the story, the way that it's put together, the way it feels kind of, but the way
The
it
execution.
looks, the way it looks and the way that it's written in terms of like interactions with characters is so DC CW. Like, it's insane how like spot on to like the first season of Flash the interactions are. So I think each show has its own thing, right? And then What If is just an animated show, so every episode could be whatever it wants to be. It kind of, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of the storylines that they chose to focus on in What If didn't make any sense why you would choose that story. Like
no,
I
and the
don't.
whole, and like you said, my biggest gripe with What If is the watcher's not supposed to get involved.
Yeah, that was the thing I got. That was the one. Okay, here was the thing. Once he got involved, I was like, they're gonna change the rules. This is a major rule that was big in the comic books that he never interacted. And see, the thing is, even they did it so gracefully, nicely in Guardians of the Galaxy Chapter 2, where they're literally just watching, and they had the Stan the Man Lee there, the god in my eyes, I'll say, or whatever. I'm being weird.
Yeah.
My point is they had him there, and that actually gave the whole thing where we always said he's kind of like a watcher himself, but he can't be a watcher because he does kind of temper,
Yeah.
But my whole point to the thing is they always, at least they kind of hinted at that one. So when they changed it, I was mad, but then I was like, you know what? They've changed so much in the MCU. I need to stop doing what John says I always do, which is looking at the comics and try to think. So I tried to take myself out of the element. But then what happened was I loved all the episodes before, and I had praise for What If, and I still enjoy those episodes. Those later ones, I was excited because I was more of like taking myself out of the moment and trying to be like a 5-year-old. But still, every time I go back to those, I do the comic thing, which is really funny because there was the one time I tried to take myself out of it, and I find it funny that the opposite is happening here, where you guys are saying, "Oh, but
the thing is, it's not just straight out of the comic books. He even says it in the opening that he doesn't get involved. But so if you see it in the opening of the intro, like in the intro, that you're not getting involved, why are you getting involved? Like, it's not only that. There were a few things like the Doctor Strange episode I did not like. Okay,
I know, and that's the most loved episode. I hate that episode.
He spent 20 minutes absorbing souls and doing the same thing over and over again. It was Groundhog Day. It wasn't Doctor Strange.
This is the thing that made it worse. Doctor Strange is smart, and he's made a lot of bad decisions before, and he knows what bad decisions are bad decisions.
Yeah.
So after doing all of that, your thought process was, I'm going to keep doing this over and over, knowing it's the wrong thing to do, and it's not going to work. I've done it 10 billion times now, and I'm still trying to do it. And so this is my big thing with What If. And Putty's comment about comic books is correct for this one. Mm-hmm. But my big issue with it is What If in the comic book is not Watcher related. Nope. What If was meant to be. Nope. What if this happens? This is not in the multiverse. This is not does not exist anywhere. They're just, what if this happened?
So now they're connecting it to the MCU.
It should never tie into the main storyline. So on top of the Watcher breaking it, now you're tying it into the storyline. Why did you call it What If?
Now you actually got exactly why it got number 5 for me. But the thing was I was fine when I heard of What If was going to be I thought it was going to be a self-contained thing.
Yes, I thought we were going to get a lot of more seasons of that.
Like, not even just that. I figured, okay, yeah, they're going to do this thing where they all come to Avengers, but it's going to only be in What If. When they said, oh, by the way, this is now part of the other multiverse and could go into the movies. I'm like, what the hell are you thinking?
Well, now we see it with Doctor Strange. We saw it in the Doctor Strange.
You know what they could have done? They could have done What If Aunt May became Spider-Man and bring her in the Spider-Man No Way Home as Aunt May Spider-Man.
But I'm saying Putty has a good point there. And I was expecting we're just going to get seasons and seasons and seasons of What If stories, and none of them will tie into each other. Even if
they tied into each other, it won't tie into other stuff. I could have lived with that. When I heard, because I was thinking that's the reason why What If got 5 now. Before I even heard all that, I thought, okay, you know what? They're going to make it a multiverse in the What If series. When they said, oh no, this is a multiverse in, guess what? All of MCU. And now that means even X-Men 97, they're saying could possibly, or what the rumors are out there, could possibly part of the multiverse, which means we could see the X-Men from the old cartoon. This doesn't make sense, and I don't.
Which is funny what you're saying, because I also heard rumors that the Spider-Man show, the animated show that they're making, I don't know what it's called, Back 94? To Class. No.
Oh yeah.
There's like a new one coming out. I don't know what the hell it's called. It might tie into the MCU somehow. And it's like, just what are you doing? Like,
Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, that's what I want. And you know who's in that? Funny enough,
Robert Downey Jr.
Downey Jr.
But again, that's why What If got so low. Because again, I actually enjoyed What If, and I'm actually because the thing is, here's the thing. I agree. The whole thing about the Watcher bothered me, but I was able to say, you know what, they're just trying to do something different to make it different for me. I'm okay with that. Again, what made it 0 was the number 200 on my list is literally saying it's part of the MCU. This is the stupidest idea they've ever had, and they've had some pretty bad ideas.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think we're all in agreement on this.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
think one of the I'm just going to say this about this show. And a lot of people, like I said, everyone's favorite episode seems to be Doctor Strange, and I don't see it. As someone who really looks at writing in shows, there's no writing involved here.
No, he absorbs souls for 10 minutes for half the episode.
My favorite episode's either the Guardians of the Galaxy one with Chadwick Boseman as.
Did not like that. I hated that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Love
Tell it. Tell me. What's the other one?
And that one, and then the Thor one, actually.
I didn't like the Thor one either.
I like the one with Hank Pym.
Hank Pym was good. Zombies.
I forgot about zombies.
Zombies and the Killmonger one were my favorite because the Killmonger one had so much character development crammed into such a short amount of time. Like none of the other shows had character development. None of the other episodes.
Killmonger just bothered me because it was so dark.
But that's fair. I agree with that. To me,
that was the only reason.
The one that I disliked the most was probably the Thor one because it just kind of didn't mean anything. But
it was fun. That's what I was saying.
But the first episode really was like the catalyst of me not liking the show because I was
it started off on a bad foot.
It really did.
You took Haley Atwell's character, Agent Carter, and she's very popular, and you took Captain America, and then all you did was perfectly retread over the exact movie. Why the hell would you do that?
Oh, except you kept Steve Rogers alive in order to have an Iron Man suit and made him Iron Man.
What do you do?
Like it was so weird. Because here's the thing. That's the reason why later on I was just like, you know what? They're throwing the rules out the window, and that's kind of what If did. But at least the one thing was something different about What If. And this is the thing. They're saying, what if Agent Carter became Captain America? But what made the What If comic books, and the reason I use this as an example in when I first did that first episode and explaining what If comics were, was the What If Wolverine killed Hulk issue, okay? And the reason I use that one as a catalyst is because these are two big characters that you love that are very strong. And when I was a kid, I always thought, what if he did kill it? And they made the comic that did what I wanted to see. And then all of a sudden, it became a catalyst where all of a sudden it went to a bad end and he ends up dying. You know what I mean? Like it becomes even worse than it ended up being in the actual comic book. And that's what I was hoping What If would be. Like it would be
the first episode, though, is the closest they got to what the idea of What If should have been. Because Steve Rogers did not become Captain America. Someone else did. And that's like what a What If thing should be. Like, what if Aunt May became Spider-Man? Or like Putty said, what if Wolverine killed Hulk? Or stuff like that. To have what if T'Challa was Star-Lord? Why would I want that episode?
No,
that doesn't even make sense.
But see, that's what I'm telling you. At that point, once I saw that Agent Carter one, even though you're saying it's the closest one to it, it felt so unlike a regular What If that at that point.
But the general idea of the episode is what I mean. I get what you're saying.
It was closer to the What If. Yeah,
that's what a What If should be.
But see, at that point, it felt like it was just throwing stuff out the window to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just having fun with this.
But you could have been anything. What if Pepper Potts became Iron Man? You know what I mean?
But that's my whole point. Yeah,
something like that.
Point. That's pretty much what everything was going for. What if this character became this character? What if this character became this character? What if this character became this character? It's literally what happened in like 3 episodes. What if Agent Carter became this? What if T'Challa became Star-Lord? It's like you're doing something that was not big in the comic books. It's not making one character and put it into another's world. It was something more like a catalyst between a fight that would change the fight altogether. You know what I mean?
The perfect example of a splinter event in the multiverse.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, that's the reason why I will say I like the Thor one is because that was a splinter event that actually kind of a little bit like it was, the party part was weird. Okay. It was more of a fun situation, but now we have a situation where literally because Loki did not get adopted by Odin, we got a different side of Thor. Now I do not want this side of Thor, but it literally felt like you get what I'm saying? Like
I get you're saying the general thing. I understand that. I just think, like we're all seem to be agreeing on here. The execution
wasn't a very good episode.
But execution of everything was kind of off. So I don't know. I'm gonna wrap this up, but I think, in my opinion, my top 4 here are all good shows. 100% good shows you should watch. What If is up to you. I still think it's watchable. I don't personally like it, but objectively,
if you're bored and you want to watch something,
I say it's still enjoyable. Haven't went back to it like these other ones. I'll tend to go.
I've
to certain
only
episodes
ever
and watch them.
watched the only one I've ever watched twice was WandaVision, and on the second watch I liked it a lot less than the first time, personally.
See, I watched a few episodes of
because you knew what was coming.
Yeah, so once you know what's
Yeah.
coming, it's like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, it said in our WandaVision review, it was like a balloon. You're blowing up this balloon for the whole series, and then it's just like
It doesn't even pop. You just left us with the balloon that's full.
Well, see,
And I was like,
no, you just deflated it with nothing.
Well,
oh
see,
my
here's
God.
the thing. I'm going to say this because we didn't talk about WandaVision that much. And see, the thing is, now that we actually are like talking about these
Yeah,
things, I want to say this real quick.
Okay, go.
WandaVision was one of those things that I love the show, but I've been so clouded lately with people saying the awards, and I have viewers that say they love it so much that it got clouded. But when I was sitting there watching that, again, we were using What If the comics and situation. I was waiting for Mephisto to show up. You know what I mean? I was waiting for so many big catalysts to happen that never happened. Okay, maybe he'll be in.
Yeah, but that was the online community that just kept hammering for it.
But you see what Marvel did to just spit in the faces of the fans who kept saying Mephisto? In the first episode of Loki, they showed the thing on the wall just to be like, haha, you thought you were going to get Mephisto, you idiots.
Yeah, but well, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But still, my point is there's so many times they've kind of done that to us anyway. But I hate that I clouded my mind about that. Even now, that when I made this list, that's the reason it was so hard to make this list. Because yeah, all four shows are still good. Even What If, they're still good shows compared to a lot of other trash that's out there. I'm just going to say that. But the thing is, yeah, right. But the thing is I'm still clouded by, like, I hate myself for putting things in certain situations, because just like having this discussion literally made me think, I should have changed my list. And that's because I didn't go back and rewatch this stuff. At that moment, I was very hyped for it. And then everyone else is so hyped, like, look how cool this looks. It's like, but down to the surface, when you look at it, it's not as good. And so, yeah, I still would put Loki at number one, but like now I'm even like, crap, I kind of hate myself for what I did, but letting WandaVision have that number two spot when Falcon and Winter Soldier had. And I remember when I did my reviews for Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was on pins and needles of excitement when I knew he was going to become agent. When I saw that first thing and they made him Captain America, I was like, that's fucking US agent. That's US agent. The hype, I got excitement. I didn't feel that for the other shows. And I hate myself for not forgetting that moment in my feeling because of knowing what was going to happen. But at the same time, there was so many things that again, MCU is good, but they sometimes kind of screw up on little things. And I hate myself for having something to compare it to, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I then tend to do it way more than usual, if that makes sense. So
yeah. Anyway. Are we good to wrap up here?
I think we're good.
All right, guys. So if you really like these shows, I'll give you a couple recommendations. Umbrella Academy, Titans, Doom Patrol. Mm-hmm. Those are all really good watches. The Cowboy Bebop live action, if I got canceled now, but
it was so good.
It's a really fun show that falls in line with these. Any of those shows you'll find a lot of enjoyment with. Check those out. Like, comment, subscribe, check out these guys' channels, and you know what time it is.